Hi, lovebirds. In this pick a card reading, we're going to be doing a channeled love letter from your person. I'm going to start off with each group with a quick energy check, see what's going on with your person. Then I'll get into the channeled love letter, and then I will get some standalone message cards and close each reading out with some initials. There are 3 groups to choose from. Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3. There are timestamps below, and I will see you in just a minute for the reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose this letter. So let's start off by seeing what's going on with your person right now. Thoughts and feelings that want to come through, or any information about what they have going on at this time. Okay, we have Scorpion, Firefly, Turtle, Cobra, Beaver, and Crocodile. So the Scorpion energy is like Scorpio, and it speaks about the energy of death and rebirth, transformation. In conjunction with this Firefly energy, it feels like your person is either on the brink of some kind of breakthrough about this connection, seeing their way through certain obstacles that had been kind of like emotional blocks or certain fears. I'm hearing irrational fears that had kind of risen up in this connection. It might have caused them to pull back or be uncertain about the next steps forward. This can also indicate somebody who has been going through like a dark night of the soul. They may have had a lot of things that caused them to kind of, with this turtle energy, sort of pull back emotionally, out of an interest of not wanting to like burden you or overwhelm you, or in some sort of way to have you look at them with an energy of like pity, or that you would come in and try to fight their battles for them. Something that might have been very challenging for their ego, where it's like, I just need to take care of this quietly. I just need to take care of this behind closed doors. This turtle energy, this is like Pentacles energy. This could definitely have to do with, you know, kind of like money, finances, career. They may have kind of encountered a challenge, something that they thought was like a sure bet or a certain pathway forward, and there was something that kind of like threw them for a loop. Certain plans didn't play out as anticipated. There may have been unanticipated competition with something where it's kind of like or they're like working toward a long-term goal, something where they've needed to kind of like pull away from this situation with you, or they've been under a lot of stress and pressure, but there's a sense that this has made them feel very kind of like guilty about that. Torn in 2 different directions, maybe not even having a lot of time or emotional energy to kind of, you know, invest in you in the way that they had wanted to before, or like recently. And so there's a sense that this person has kind of like found a way forward, or they've become a little more acclimated to this sort of like situation for themselves. You know, something that had really been kind of disappointing, and now there's a breakthrough, now there's hope, now there's new potential. So with this Cobra energy, this is reminding me of like Shiva energy, like the god Shiva, a very empowered stance. Like they've needed to kind of like, a cycle has been destroyed in some kind of way, and there's the energy of like resurrection. They've stepped into their power in some kind of way, or are wanting to kind of fight through things. They're not wanting to just like give up so quickly. They're fighting to preserve like a foundation which has been laid with this beaver sort of energy, a sense of almost really even kind of coming to terms or a breakthrough with themselves about they don't need to kind of like achieve or accomplish something in the material sense in order to be able to be worthy of like experiencing romance and partnership. That could have been another thing where this person might have felt like, I've got these other goals I'm working towards, things are moving very quickly, or they're very intense, or I feel something very deeply for you, but it can't show up as you'd like me to. I can't pour into this as I'd like to. It feels like it's unfair to the two of us to kind of just have to sort of take the slow and steady approach when I want to be very proactive moving forward. And so there's a sense now that that might have caused them to kind of pull away, but that now they've shed something. They've shed a cycle, they've shed an experience, they've moved through something, they've maybe had like a positive turn of events as far as their finances are concerned, which is helping to kind of like boost their self-esteem. Something that they might have anticipated could have even been a setback, turned out in the opposite way. Like it's almost like their material circumstances have changed, and now there's a sense of like wanting to get into that destructive energy in terms of destroying the wall that they put up between the two of you, destroying that kind of stance that caused them to sort of pull away or to feel very like fearful in a manner. This crocodile energy speaks to kind of like watching and waiting. So there's something where they want to emerge towards you. They want to present something to you, something that kind of has to do with not an explanation of what they've gone through, their thought process or the emotional process, but something that really kind of demonstrates like, I want to come out on dry land. I want you to see me out in the open. They're definitely kind of like watching this situation from afar, anticipating like a move forward. If there's been a change in their financial circumstances or some kind of breakthrough, something where they've been able to kind of find a way to sort of puzzle their way through certain problems, then this can even indicate sort of like, I want to show back up with, not just a dozen roses, but like an even bigger bouquet. Or I want to show up with, roses at your doorstep and take you out for a nice dinner. I want to treat you. I want to like gift you. I want to sort of give you something that can kind of sweeten maybe the hurt or the disappointment that has been the case up to this point in time. So you don't think I'm trying to just kind of like come back in and act like nothing has happened, but something where this person is kind of like feeling that they are wanting to be almost like more generous as you sort of like move out of this cycle, more emotionally generous to you is sort of what's coming through here. And that may even just be in the form of like consistency. I'm hearing picking up where we left off with this beaver energy. So this is almost giving to mind like Three of Pentacles. So again, the idea of collaboration, wanting to work through you to kind of allay any fears that you may have had, that this situation had kind of like fallen off and it wasn't going to ever resume, or if this person had like pulled back emotionally, they'd been under stress, they'd been under pressure, they'd been going through things that it's like, I don't want to share with you what's happening financially or professionally because it, relates to my confidence, it relates to my self-esteem. And so this is almost like they just pulled away in their shell, or they've been very busy or, preoccupied with other things. There's a sense of kind of like, I want to get back on a good footing with you. I want to resume our contact or increase the nature of our contact with one another, so that you see I'm not just kind of like jumping back in order to kind of pull out again, but that I want to jump back into this situation and kind of give you more on an emotional level. So things that will be pleasing to you, things that would be very sweet. And I'm hearing butter you up. So there may even be something where they're going to lean into that territory of like gift giving in order to sort of like try to get on your good side, get back in your good graces in some sort of way, because this feels like something, whatever had kind of like pulled them away or caused them to kind of like retreat or pull back a little emotionally. I'm hearing it's not what you think it is. So some of you might have been like, ooh, are they talking to someone else? Are their sights set elsewhere? And it feels like, no, it didn't have to do with that. It had something to do with like finances, with money, with self-esteem, with the security in that kind of capacity. Maybe even things where they had to kind of like get in there and help somebody else out. Things that for wherever you're at in your connection right now, they just didn't feel it was like right or appropriate to sort of share that with you, talk to you about that. And so, it's or something where it's just not in their nature. They could be that kind of like stoic energy, just sort of like they're going through struggles, challenges. They just sort of put their nose to the grindstone. They deal with it. They don't ask for help. They don't complain about things. They just kind of do what they need to do. It feels like this person has been in that mode. And and now they've snapped out of it, or they've kind of like closed out that cycle. And so there's an energy of wanting to kind of illuminate the possibility of a future between the two of you with some kind of like empowered action, something that shows like, they're not just wanting to come in the same energy they were before, but it's that activation of that divine potential, like a higher version of them, something where, you may get that kind of preview of sort of like, there may be times with even, again, work is coming through the nature of their work where they're having, long hours. There are things that they're working on. They're very stressed. Maybe this is even someone that if they're very short-tempered, at the end of the day, they may, instead of trying to like inflict that upon you or upon other people, they kind of just retreat when they're under a lot of stress, under a lot of pressure. Now you get to know that side of their personality, but there's a sense of like, I want to make that up to you. I want to make you aware that when I have these experiences or have these sort of like phases or things that are going on, that this isn't just, I'm not just trying to like come back in and act like nothing has happened. There's something where it's like a recognition in some sort of way that they may have sparked a bit of fear within you about like, okay, did I say something? Did I do something? Sort of like what's happening? Is this just kind of like how this person is? Am I seeing beyond the mask? Is this just like what's really going on with them? Like they want to make sure that you know that this is something just very temporary, something that was very unavoidable, something they can't necessarily talk about, but so they're wanting to come back in and try to rebuild out of some sort of misunderstanding or something where they weren't in the best energy, they weren't in the best mindset, they might have been in kind of like a dark mood, dark attitude, things like that. And so this is again kind of like coming out of all of that to have a different sort of material experience with you that shows that even if they're capable of these lows, they are also able to kind of get back into a territory or sort of move beyond what you've experienced with them up to this point in time. They're able to kind of, surprise you with sort of the generosity, emotional generosity that accompanies like, an apology or a sense of even telling you like, I missed you, I haven't liked this time apart. So something that they want to kind of add in to sort of sweeten the deal if you're gonna, and it feels like for a lot of you, like, yeah, it'll be great to hear from them again. This isn't anything like, oh, I don't know if I'd ever talk to them. They have to like come begging. No, this is an energy of just sort of like somebody that life got in the way. They had things going on. There legitimately was, things orbiting their existence beyond this connection that drew their attention away, in a sense that they haven't been able to be as consistent with you. They've maybe been very closed off, very busy, very distracted. And so this is like, I'm, through that, or I'm getting through that. And so I want to make sure that you know that I acknowledge you. I see you. I see that this has been kind of like put on hold, or the dynamic has shifted a bit between the two of us, but I'm coming back towards you, trying to sort of like give and express in a way that lets you know, hey, I'm still here. I'm still thinking about you. I'm still interested in you. I still want to progress forward. So let's see what they want you to know from their higher self. I have designed worlds in my head inspired by you, my muse, my inspiration. I am function. You are beauty. Together we are life. I feel your joy cascade upon me from afar. I feel you smiling a secret smile just for me, and my day is brighter because of it. I treasure every experience we have shared. Part of me feels that these moments only add to a level of wealth we have co-created lovingly as two souls dancing across time regardless of the circumstances or how our story was written, because we always come home to each other, because we are always in love. I sometimes feel like heaven would be disappearing into you completely, only to re-emerge as a newly minted version of myself, fit to walk the earth, finally, because your love is like a halo which presents the meaning of paradise to me in a way which makes sense beyond all abstractions. Love was only a concept to me once, then I met you, and love became real. Thank you for being the best surprise of my life. Thank you for being the one person through whose eyes I can truly see myself as something more than the ways in which my life has defined me so far. So let's see what else your person wants you to know. Okay, and we have you and I are past due. It's time we fix that. I wasn't ready, but now I am ready. I am ready for you. I genuinely care about you. You have the key to my heart. I really love the way you make me feel inside. And your love is like honey. So these initials can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got B, B, E, Z, G, H, A, T, M, L, D, Y, G, N, R, and H. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content. And don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. If you would like to book a personal reading with me or order your own personalized channeled love letter, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. You chose this letter, which I'll read in just a minute. Let's see what's going on with your person right now. Any thoughts and feelings that want to come through? Anything you need to know? Okay, so we have sea serpent, firefly, dragon, scorpion, crocodile, and cobra. So this is interesting. I gave this deck a really good shuffle after pile 1, and 4 of the same cards came out. So there may be messages for you in that other group, or something in, you know, the message cards or the love letter. If you haven't watched that, maybe go back and watch that, and there could be like a combination of these things that resonate for your situation. But this is really speaking kind of like with this Ouroboros here on this sea serpent. It's like the start of a new cycle. Again, with the scorpion energy, kind of like something has concluded, something new is beginning. It feels like this person is proactive. I'm hearing about winning you back. So there may be something where they've been fighting their demons. They've been, you know, kind of like slaying those dragons within, fears that they had about sort of measuring up to your expectations in a long-term sense, or even like a version of themselves that started to emerge earlier on in your connection that was very unrecognizable to them, and they sort of feared the unknown. But now they've come to this understanding, like if they've taken a step back from this situation, it was the better version of them that came out in your company. And so this is somebody that wants to fight a way through to you. There may have also been other cycles at play in their life, things where there have been a very positive effect upon them through kind of the experiences with you, where this person is really motivated, it feels like, to not just kind of wait on divine timing with this cobra here to kind of like shed old energies or shed old cycles, but they're almost kind of like embodying the energy of a fire breathing dragon and wanting to just kind of like burn down things that are sort of like standing between their ability to hold your hand in the light of day, to claim you out loud, to kind of like honor this connection in a more lasting sort of way. I'm hearing chivalry as well with this dragon energy. So this is somebody that wants to come in as a knight in shining armor, but not somebody that it feels like is wanting to kind of set up lofty expectations and not be able to deliver. This may have been something where they felt very almost larger than life in your presence in the earlier experiences with you, and they could have almost like had some sort of fear that kind of crept in, something where it's like, okay, how you're looking at me, how I feel when I'm in your presence versus how I feel when I'm away from you, or the life that I'm living that I had built before you and I connected, it doesn't add up, it doesn't match up. And so there was almost a sense of understanding that certain things needed to be cleared away, certain, toxicities needed to be worked through, certain limiting beliefs needed to be alchemized into something else, into something better. There's a version of them that they needed to conquer or silence or kind of shed, in order to be able to kind of move with you into the next phase of reality. And so it feels like this is something that they've been kind of trying to quietly work on behind the scenes, not like, and it's come through as like cause a commotion within this circumstance. So it's like wrapping up a cycle in order to kind of like subtly begin something new with you. But there's a sense of kind of like wanting, I'm drawn to the idea of the cobra, and like, a cobra, and it kind of like spreads its hood. It sort of, it stands up, and it becomes very kind of like ominous, like the idea of sort of letting you slip through their fingers, or letting the challenges and obstacles, internal or external, kind of defeat their willingness to keep showing up in this connection or to move towards you again, or like in a more profound sort of way. They're facing those things head on. It's almost like, I want to be ominous towards those challenges, whether it's an internal block or anything outside of themselves that had been like thwarting this can even be like people that they were hanging around with, that just had like different priorities. They had, certain opinions about things. This person might have been kind of embarrassed about the fact that you like light them up inside. You make them feel very romantic. There's a certain kind of life that they want to build with you that may really kind of be separate from how people around them are approaching love and romance. They may be hanging out with people like friend groups where it's just a bunch of players, it's just a bunch of people that don't want anything serious, or even on the other side of that, there could even be like everyone in their life like is partnered up with someone, and the nature of what the two of you could have with one another, those goals and dreams, or what that life would look like, it's very different from how other people have done things, the nature of other people's relationships. So there's something where this person has been like wrestling with that, kind of like the way they feel internally versus how the outside looks in this circumstance. And that had been something that had been making them kind of like hesitant to invest with you fully in the past. But it's like they've moved through those energies, or are moving actively through those energies. They're trying to like face those things head on. They're not going to be defeated by those fears. This is a sense of kind of owning that shadow for what it is, and sort of choosing to move forward, with you anyway. So this almost is giving to mind the idea of like more romantic efforts on their part. There may be a way in which they are wanting to express things almost through intimacy with you, eye contact, physical intimacy, or even just kind of, being more sort of touchy-feely with you, more public displays of affection, or things that make it very clear, maybe even like posting stuff about the two of you being together, kind of claiming this in the light of day, that sort of gives an awareness beyond like having an actual kind of in-depth conversation about things. But it's almost like, I can show you better than I can tell you. I can express this in the way that we kiss, in the way in which, I'm kind of like displaying our relationship for the world to see, where I'm, kind of having these moments of looking you in the eye in the midst of the intensity of this chemistry, this intensity of my desire for you, amidst the fact that I understand that it's like, once we cross a certain bridge or a certain threshold, or move forward with one another in a particular direction, there's no going back from that. And it's like, this person doesn't want to go back. They want to move forward with you. So they've been working behind the scenes on certain things. They've been wrapping up a cycle, and it feels like you're getting ready to experience, like the next evolution of them. Something where they're kind of like, they're claiming, or they're owning, or they're wanting to embody that sort of like better version, or the more uplifted or empowered version of them that comes alive in your presence, that they've needed to kind of like wrestle into a place of submission, how they are used to showing up in partnerships, or the energy they were embodying before, or even like certain kind of cycles that they had to cut out, or even just mindsets, things you wouldn't have known about, but even kind of like perceptions on love and partnership that didn't align with what they are experiencing with you. It's like you've disproven their theories, of kind of like the nature of gender roles, or, kind of like this, maybe somebody that embodied a philosophy of like good things don't last, or kind of like sleep with one eye open, don't get too comfortable within connections, and the experience with you has proven all of that wrong. It's been like the opposite of that. So it's a closing up of that cycle. It's the energy of kind of illuminated to like, hey, maybe there's a different experience in love. Maybe I thought I knew everything there was to know about love and partnerships, but you're here showing me a different experience, or there's a different version of me coming online to show up for you. But in order to continue to progress forward in that direction, that means I got to offload this other programming. I got to close out that cycle. I got to be willing to sort of admit that those things were applicable, those thoughts, those theories, those behaviors, the way this person has showed up, or maybe that their woundedness kind of caused them to close off to the idea of love and romance. That was very relevant for like a previous chapter, a previous version of themselves. But here now with you, it's an opportunity to move forward like in a different direction, in a more empowered energy, with the wisdom of the past and a beginner's mind as far as like what the future holds. So it feels like this is somebody that wants to be more romantic. They want more closeness with you. They want to kind of, again, like show you rather than describe to you the changes that have happened. Although for some of you, it's going to be very eye-opening, because this person is getting ready to let you know about something you may not have even been aware of, like a toxic thing in their life, a behavior, a mindset, a pattern that they're getting ready to open up to you. Like, yeah, I felt this way until I met you, or this was something that was going on in my life, but it doesn't, you make me want to change. And so I've made these changes in the interest of kind of preserving our connection or building further with you. Things where you may find that they're kind of like detaching even from hanging out with certain people that you might have even been like, hey, that's toxic. You might have said something, or you didn't say something. You're just like, yeah, I don't like how you are when you're around that group of people, or whenever you talk to that person or you're having that experience, it always kind of like drags you down. It lowers your vibration. This may be something where they've picked up on that too, and so they're choosing to kind of like move towards things that are more higher vibrational, move towards things that bring out the best in them. And a lot of this is inspired and motivated by you. So it's like showing up for you in this connection in a better way by showing up for themselves in a better way too. So let's see what they want you to know from their higher self. Of all the conspiracy theories I have heard that have piqued my attention, the one I like the best is that the universe has conspired in our favor, that love will find a way, that heaven and earth are being rearranged so we can see this connection through to our well-deserved happily ever after. More than theory, I see these ideas become form and fact each time I reach for you and you yield to my touch, and prosperity takes on a new name. You are hallowed ground. My soul experiences salvation only when I am with you. For all of the mistakes I have made in my past, for all the goals I have chased to victory, and for all the things I left undone, when I am with you, I experience the opportunity for something else, something new to compel me through the years and through the ages, as I am inspired and guided by you like no other. I want to help erase the hurt you have sustained before I arrived in your life. I want to fill the empty spaces in your heart with something better. I want to be the one to alchemize the corrosion of every untruth clumsy tongues have flogged your mind with, so that you only see yourself as gold. I want to speak love into every corner of your life. So let's see what else your person wants you to know. have I surrender my heart to you? Can I spend my life with you? You are my weakness. You are my sweet spot. You truly are something special. I'm watching you. And I'm in love with you. You are my other half. So these initials can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got T, L, J, W, F, R, E, O, C, U, T, F, M, N, S, and O. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like the video or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. And don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. If you would like to book a personal reading with me or order your own personalized channeled love letter, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. You chose this love letter, which I will read in just a minute. Let's see what's going on with your person right now. Any thoughts and feelings that want to come through, or anything you need to know. Okay, we've got cosmic egg, crow, frog, moth, dragonfly, and rabbit. So it feels like this person is giving a lot of thought to the long-term plan between the two of you. There's a desire here to migrate towards you, to move towards you if there's distance, or a sense of kind of like they're starting to think beyond just terms of like me and you, and they're incorporating the idea of us into those future plans. There's something where you have really sort of checked off a lot of boxes for this person that has activated something deep within that is causing them to want to uncoil from some kind of guardedness in terms of their heart. They want to give you their heart. They want to give you the world with this crow card right here. They want to brighten your world because you have brightened theirs. This is somebody, it feels like, who was never really appreciated or loved correctly. Nobody ever really could understand or reciprocate or appreciate what it is that they have brought to the table, emotionally, or their love language, or just certain like aspects of who they are as a person. And yet it is aligned in a very wonderful way with you. You've been very receptive to them. A lot of similarities between the two of you, very similar love languages, or a sense of like, I feel very understood. I feel very in my element. I feel like all aspects of myself are, kind of like aligning with you. You're operating on the same frequency as one another, and there's a sense of like they're wanting to sort of invest in kind of like quick movement forward. The creative potential between the two of you, it's like they don't need any more time to sort of think about these things. That their thoughts are definitely towards those higher energies, those more long-term energies, putting long-term plans in motion. There's a sense that they feel that like you're their treasure. They they have found you, they have located you, and there's a desire to like keep you close, bring you closer, make expressions that let you know, like, I'm drawn to you like a moth to a flame. They may have had options before, but there's a sense of like, I only see you now, or there's a way in which they're like responding to you that is very positive for them. The idea of sort of like what it would be like to be nurtured by your love, what it would be like to nurture you with their love, is definitely giving them a lot of sort of like positive energy. It feels very good for them. There's a sense here of wanting to kind of expand beyond the nature of your interactions so far. So if this has only been like an online connection, this person may be making plans to meet up in person or to bring you out to see them or to meet them. I'm hearing meet halfway, meet in the middle. So if there's like a considerable distance, something where, they're kind of strategizing that, or may, start to kind of talk about that. How do we arrange for that to happen? Because I don't want this kind of connection behind two screens. I want us to be up close and personal. If this is somebody that you're dealing with like face to face, this again is sort of like taking things to the next level. This can be like, they're wanting to get intimate with you. They're feeling like it's time for that, for the connection to become sexual. Or, if you're already intimate with one another, you've already been dating one another. It's like a situationship. This can speak to, laying claim to you, making things official, or even kind of talk of like moving in with one another. It feels like this person is starting to kind of open up to the idea of like really long-term plans. But it feels like this is sort of like they've almost relaxed into whatever this energy is right now, where this could be somebody who is very, very, they had their guard up, or they were very discerning about that idea of like, I'm going to say this is the one, or, this may be somebody that doesn't like quickly or easily say that they are in love with someone. That might just be like part of their nature. Or this could be something that, is the result of like wounding or heartbreak or circumstances where they thought they had met the one in the past and it turned out to not be. And so they're a little more cautious as far as sort of like where they let their mind and heart wander in that capacity. So it feels like they're not necessarily at the brink of that, but it's kind of like a crucial element within them has sort of loosened to where it's like, okay, I want to keep exploring this. I want to keep progressing forward with you because I could see myself falling in love with you, and the idea of that doesn't make me recoil. It doesn't make me clench up inside. This may be somebody who has been kind of like an avoidant as far as relationships are concerned, and in some sort of way you're like curing that, you're healing them of that, and it's in a way that is kind of like it's making their heart beat very fast with a sense of like, have I actually aligned with something good for me? There may be a sense as well that they're kind of, this is like moth and dragonfly, but we have the crow here, so this analogy kind of fits the bird's eye perspective, where they're noticing kind of like their urge to take things a step further with you, to lean into this, or to start to kind of like open up more to you, or to invite you in closer to their reality. This is like totally the opposite of what usually happens at this phase, where they get jittery, they get cold feet, they start looking for an out. They have noted that it's kind of like, okay, my reaction is different here. I'm feeling a different sort of way. I'm drawn to you, as opposed to kind of like wanting to put the brakes on in this situation. So that can be something where, again, it's kind of like wanting to preserve this, wanting to protect this, because it may be, too soon to tell, too soon to be like, I think I found the one, or the one that's right for me. But there's definitely a sense of like, I don't want to mess this up. I don't want to kind of like get into a slippery situation where things move too quickly from this point forward. And I know myself, I know my tendencies, I know how I am. And, this is kind of like a breakthrough for me. But if I regress into that place, if I sort of like, trip on that trigger, it's almost like something they're wanting to kind of like keep you in the dark of what that might be, because it's like they don't want you to have to like do anything in order to coddle them or placate them. It's sort of like, I got to walk this tightrope. I've extended beyond my comfort zone with you so far without even meaning to. So they feel very compelled to kind of like contain that part of themselves that would be sort of, again, like avoidant or something. That idea of avoidance, like avoidance in relationship, maybe something that they've kind of noted, that is, they're not proud of that. It's not something that they wear as a badge of honor. It's something that they may have been trying to kind of like deal with or figure out. They've been taking a logical approach and just ended up with the same results. But with you, it's almost like just the energy between the two of you, the way they feel inside, it's naturally creating the sense of like a relationship doesn't seem that scary. Taking things a step further doesn't seem that scary. And so they're trusting in that of like, okay, something is happening, some kind of process is happening between us that I don't necessarily understand, but maybe I don't need to understand it. I just need to like seize the moment and do what I can do in order to create some greater degree of closeness between the two of us, so we can start exploring this a little more up close and personal, and then sort of see what happens. So let's see what they want you to know from their higher self. This hold you have upon me is fascinating because it has freed me from a great deal of suffering which has clouded my worldview for far too long. I am detached from so many things I have chased in vain to the ends of the earth, and this is because the light in your eyes, that twinkle of moonlight and mischief that shines brighter than the sun, has allowed me to see the gift of this moment with you, and to see my way beyond the ghosts of my past who haven't had anything new to tell me in quite a while. I have disappeared the door through which I used to drift freely as I replayed and relived the scenes of things I am powerless now to change, in the interest of investing my full focus on the opportunity that beckons me to step forward towards you as I answer the call your heart has sent, which pierced the membrane of my distractedness and introduced me to free will yet again. I choose you. I choose us. I choose this with all that I am. You are so easy to love. Thank you for curing me of my addiction to toxic and difficult people, places, and things. I look forward to our quiet life together, hand in hand, as we stand within the sky of starlight made just for us. So let's see what else your person wants you to know right now. And we have the sound of your voice lingers in my mind. I'm watching you. I am unlearning old ways, and it is hard at times. You are my safe place. You are my home. I vow to love you the best I can. And I've made my mind up. You are the one. I don't want to waste any more time. So these initials can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got E, H, L, N, K, P, I, O, E, Q, D, I, R, A, W, and A. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me or order your own personalized channeled love letter, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.